up, guys? Welcome back to the Sounds Like MLM But Okay podcast, the only anti-MLM podcast that's floating out there in the ether of the internet, where we are always ready to expose the predatory nature of multi-level marketing to your ear holes. I'm Sasha, and I'm here with my co-host Katie. Well, actually, Katie's not recording with me at this moment, but fear not, she is in this episode. But somehow, in the editing process, I seem to have lost the first half of my introduction, where I ask her, hey, what's going on with you? And we banter a bit, yada yada yada. So these first couple minutes is a re-recording, where in Katie's temporary absence, I will talk about myself instead, because I'm narcissistic. So now, some of you may be wondering why this is coming out on Wednesday and not Monday, like we promised all week. Well, I done goofed. Oops. But here we are, ready to insert some fun and informative information, just like I said, into those ear holes. Couple things before we get into it. 1. If you started to subscribe to this podcast, like some of you said you did, because you enjoyed my video posted to the group and to the page, Marketing 101, the basics of channeling your inner feline for marketing success before you vomit on the carpet, which is the first in my series of satirical seminars into my new venture as a business consultant and life coach for small businesses and network marketers. My goal is to educate you on the advantage of utilizing feline psychology and behavior for financial success over obtaining a costly MBA, which, let's face it, is for chumps. I'm kidding. But yes, I am my own CEO now. I am working on a proper hashtag that combines both the true boss babe, me and my cat are, and then something about how I get paid in my sleep. I'll link the video in the show notes for anyone who may want to overcome sales objections, much like we talk in this episode, but by thinking like a cat. Secondly, you may hear some cackling in the audio. There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. Actually, there's not a whole lot I can do in Audacity about it to make it softer. What you're hearing is a bag of frozen corn that I keep placing on different parts of my body because I can't record with the AC on without my mic picking it up. And when we recorded this episode, it was well over 100 degrees that day. So, sorry about that. Anyway, let's hop into it. Now that we've got the house cleaning sorted out, we've got a fun and informative episode for you. Many of you have been asking for a while now how to deal with a Hunbot who is giving you excuses on why you need to join their team. Now, briefly, we need to define what a Hunbot is for our new listeners and people just jumping on the wagon. In our original intro, I had Katie explain what a Hunbot is, so I had her rewrite her definition for us. A Hunbot is our affectionate nickname for MLM sellers, she says. If you've ever seen a message from an MLM seller, they almost always use some kind of cutesy pet name, even when it's not really appropriate, and more often than not, call people Hun. The bot part comes from the fact that most of the time, the messages or responses they are given are scripted and they just sound like a bot repeated the information. Thus, the Hunbot. Thank you, Katie, for rewriting that for me. Sorry I'm getting this out late. Now let's go on with the original recording, guys. So today, not only are we talking about some of the tips and tricks and scripted replies that Hunbots use, but we're going to give you some ideas on how to either respectfully decline or even just say fuck off. It's all up to you and the relationship you have with this rep and what you feel comfortable with, but we've got a few replies and quick sentences or longer sentences to keep in your arsenal for future use. Anything you want to add to that, Katie?
I think the only thing that I would have to say is on a normal basis, we don't really encourage, being like super rude to people or just being like, no, I don't want your MLM shit. Fuck you. Find a real job. Of course, it heavily depends on how they've interacted with you, because for the most part, while annoying, they're usually pretty respectful and just, hey, I'm selling this, you should book a party or you should buy from me. And yeah, it's obnoxious, but they're not being rude or mean. But there are situations where they're being really disrespectful or really inappropriate.
Right.
For a long time, our cover photo for the group was a screenshot of an exchange between a group member and an oils seller, because a group member had just found out that her child was very sick and had, posted about it on Facebook, just, venting to her friends and family, looking for support. And the seller had messaged her and was like, hey, hun, I saw your post about your son, and I sell these oils that might help calm him down or whatever she said, if he ever has to get shots. And her response was honestly glorious, because it was so inappropriate of that person to try to sell to her at that point in time. She just found out her son was very sick and was looking for help and support, and not somebody trying to sell her some bullshit snake oil. And so the member's response was, hey, hun, I just saw this message and wondered if you'd ever considered eating my entire ass. Fuck off. Thanks.
Yeah, and but what was so great about it was, yes, she had a sick child, and it was just such a visceral response from the heart. And it's like, that's a mother's love coming through.
Yeah,
a mother saying, eat my ass and fuck off. I would hope that my own mother would say the very same thing.
You really can't expect somebody to respond differently when you've just said that you found out your child is very sick and they're trying to sell you shit. Like, what else did you expect to happen, dude?
Exactly. So, you ready to get into it? You ready to get into some arguments?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so the first arguments we're going to get into right after this little musical interlude are the arguments that reps and people in MLMs are going to try to use on you after you say no. So we will be right back, and hang tight.
Yeah, all right.
Well, welcome back, anti-MLMers. We're going to start, like I said, with some of the arguments that they try to use to get you on their team or to buy their products, or both. And the first one that I think is a really important one is, well, my doctor said I could take this.
Like, as far, like Plexus, is that kind of...
Yeah, I believe so. But what it makes me think about is, like, what kind of doctor are we talking about? What kind of for-profit online university degree mill did they get this medical degree from? It reminds me of Dr. Nick from The Simpsons, since, I've been watching seasons 1 through 8 from The Simpsons, only the best seasons of The Simpsons. And it's like when he comes in the room and he's like, hello, everybody. And everyone's like, hi, Dr. Nick. And it also reminds me of Dr. Spaceman from 30 Rock. And if you recall, his name is spelled Dr. Spaceman, which I thought was just a really, really good gag.
I love Dr. Spaceman. Or maybe their doctor is Dr. Oz. Although, honestly, I would say that they're making that up before I would believe that any qualified or unqualified doctor told them that, yeah, you should definitely take that. It's totally good for you.
Honestly, though, I could definitely see Dr. Oz promoting something, because he's always promoting shit like goji berries are going to cure cancer, or I know my mom had me go to the co-op one time to get pu'er tea. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I live in a very crunchy granola town, and I can't even pronounce half the crunchy granola things that I should be able to pronounce given my location of living. But yeah, no. Dr. Oz would, I could see with the right amount of money, especially in our administration right now, where there does seem to be a lot of MLM people floating around into it. I bet with the right payoff, Dr. Oz would shill some plexus.
Totally. He totally would. And also, okay, somebody tells you, oh, you should definitely buy it. It's okay. My doctor says it's good for me. Like, don't just take their word for it. Don't just say, oh, well, this person's doctor said it was okay for them. If you seriously, honestly want to hear a doctor's opinion, go to your own doctor who knows you and knows your health and ask them personally whether you should be ingesting this or not. Because that person's health is not going to be in the same condition as yours. And just because their doctor says it's safe for them doesn't mean it's safe for you.
Well, and I think that that is part of the problem, is some people don't necessarily have access to the healthcare they need, because I know a lot of jobs don't provide health, even really good paying jobs don't necessarily provide health care for their spouses or dependents, their children. So
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
true.
yeah, I think it's real easy for people to kind of either go to quacks like Dr. Nick, or just make up on the spot like, oh well, my doctor says it's okay.
Yeah.
And then that easily manipulates people into thinking, I don't have to pay $100 for a doctor's visit now and then pay $200 for my prescription. I could just do Plexus, which, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that much cheaper. But, you know, people get into that mindset, and I can totally get that, especially when you're talking about detoxing, big pharma. Okay, we're getting way into we're getting into some political territory right now. But you know what I mean. I'm just talking about how people's psychologies work.
Yeah, and it's all just really unfortunate because they're really good at finding the weak points and finding exactly what they should be saying to talk somebody into buying their bullshit.
Exactly. And health is always, always, always going to be a weak point for people, because who doesn't want to be healthy? Who doesn't want to make sure they're in tip-top shape? And if someone says, oh, well, my doctor is totally on board with this, and then especially if they go to a quack doctor, they can always say, here, let me write his name down for you.
Yeah.
So wrapping that up, are you ready to get to the next excuse?
Yeah, let's get to the next one. Let's hear them excuses.
Okay, the next excuse. Oh, it's not an MLM. My boss's salary isn't contingent on mine, and I don't need people to sign up under me to get paid a decent wage.
Okay, first of all, if it was actually somebody in an MLM, they wouldn't say my boss, because they're their own boss and they don't have bosses. Remember, their upline is not their boss. It's their upline.
Oh,
they don't have bosses.
Everything is so contradictory with some of these excuses that I'm giving out. You'll definitely see that in a later excuse.
Here's the thing is, yes, their income does depend on you. It does depend on you selling stuff. Legally, it cannot depend on, before I say that, their entire income may not depend on you. Their base income depends on themselves and how much they can sell and how many people they can recruit, or, you know, whatever. But all of their extra income, their bonuses and shit like that, does come from their downline. And they call it bonuses so that, you know, it doesn't sound like their income is depending on their downline. You know what I mean?
Right. And there's just so many things wrong with it. Excuse me. There are just so many things wrong with this. And what comes to mind is it's this one new company that actually calls themselves, they had a hashtag on Twitter, hashtag the anti-MLM or hashtag anti-MLM, like they're the Antichrist or something. I think the company was called My Wink Life, and it sold like baby products, baby wipes. I don't know. Sold a bunch of...
I actually haven't heard of it.
Okay, but anyway, the coalition ended up taking over that tag on Instagram, and now it's just a bunch of posts by us, so fuck yeah, one for the coalition. And so, you know, of course, naturally, I went and looked at the business plan, and their whole thing was, oh, well, you don't need a downline to make money, but if you want to go further, then of course you can do that. And it's like, no, that doesn't make you an anti-MLM. Fuck off.
No, if you are still able to make money from a downline, you're still an MLM. That's not how that works. Saying you don't have to do it doesn't make it not multi-level. The option to do it is what makes it multi-level.
Right, and it always gets on me when people say, well, my upline never makes me recruit. I do well just selling A, B, and C all by myself. And it's like, Really? Really you do? Because it sounds like you're just your own customer at this point, which we talked about in the last episode. Sounds like MLM, but oakley dokley.
It's a good episode, neighborino.
Good episode, neighborino. All right, you ready to get on to the next excuse?
Yeah, that one's just some bullshit. Like, that's just complete bullshit. That's not even a good excuse. That's completely see-through. Next, get a tent.
That will never get fucking old. I promise.
Oh,
hold on.
Never gonna die.
I'm breaking the fourth wall again because I'm getting a call. Hold on.
I bet it's Greg.
It is Greg. We will be right back, listeners. Okay, so the next one we have, and this one is my favorite one. I have this one as my cover picture on Twitter. Oh, how's that cubicle scheme working out for you, where you have to work a 9 to 5 and you don't get to be home with your kids like me?
Oh, I just rolled my eyes so hard that I could see the back of my skull. Working a 9 to 5 job does not inherently mean that you do not get to see your kids. And also, for all of you parents out there, working a 9 to 5 job outside of the house does not make you a bad parent. That shit drives me up the wall. I can't stand it. I can't stand the parent shaming. There's already enough mom shaming between, oh, you're going back to work, you're not going to stay home with your kids, and, oh, you're staying home with your kids,
right.
You don't want to go out and make money to support them. Let parents do what they think is best for their family, their household, and their kids. Okay? So working a 9 to 5 job outside of the home does not mean you don't get to see your kids. Working in the home with kids is really fucking hard. I work here at home with my 5-year-old, and do you know how many hours a day I manage to work? Like 3. It is so fucking hard to work an actual job and be at home while you have little children running around wanting to talk to you every 5 minutes, trying to show you every single thing that they do. I love my child. I love her so much. I just absolutely adore her. But I swear to you, she comes in and interrupts me every 5 seconds to tell me, Mom, look what I just did. Yes, thank you for that update. Can I get back to work now? It's so unbelievably difficult. It is okay to work outside the home. It is okay to it's okay to not want to be home with your kids all day. It's really okay. I get it. Everybody gets it. Some people love being at home with their kids. Some people not so much. I enjoy being at home with my child, but you know what else I enjoy? When she's not at home and I get to have some time to myself and get actual work done.
Well, the joke's on you, Karen.
I kind of went off on a little rant there, but it just drives me absolutely nuts. I can't stand it. I can't stand the parent shaming.
No, the parent shaming is terrible, and the joke's on you, Karen, because I don't got any kids. This woman is child-free. And also, cubicle scheme sounds pretty sweet. As somebody who does not own a cubicle, I am recording this on a card desk in a guest room of my house. And a cubicle sounds nice. So you get your own little partition, and you get a computer and a place with you get your own little name placard and your own business cards. You know,
so
you get
legit.
A little candy jar. I'm all about that cubicle scheme.
Also, you know what's great about you know what's great?
What's great?
You know what's great about cubicle schemes? Guaranteed pay, hourly pay, or salary. Usually there's some kind of benefits.
Right.
You know, you get to be around other human beings, other adult human beings.
Right.
One of the things, and this I may be jumping ahead. I don't know what you've got on the schedule for today's discussion. But one of the things that they always like to try to rub in people's faces is, oh, I just love my job so much. I'm sitting by the pool working today.
Because you can work from your phone.
Right? Yeah. Well, you know what's super great about having a 9 to 5 cubicle scheme is when you're on vacation, usually you're on fucking vacation and you don't have to work while you're sitting poolside with your kids. That's not always 100% the case. My mom is the type of person that she's important in her job. She is a very determined and I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, but
she's a go-getter. She is a power suit wearer.
Yes. She's not a workaholic because she can shut it off when she needs to. You know, she can be like, all right, I'm done. I'm not working. I'm done. This is it. But yes, she is a go-getter and she goes and gets it. And, you know, we were on vacation for a week and she forgot her computer cord. And she called me before we left to go down there and was like, hey, I forgot my computer cord. Can you bring it to me? You know, I'm on vacation, but in case they need me, I got to have my computer. And I did the exact same thing. Of course, I told everyone that I wasn't going to have service because I thought that I wasn't. And then I found out that we had internet. But I did the exact same thing where I was like, I promised my husband, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to talk to anybody unless they absolutely need me, in which case I'm going to have to do it because I have to. I don't have to because like my boss is going to be mad at me, or because, you know, you're going to be mad at me, or the other admins of the group are going to be mad at me, but because I feel responsible and I'm like, I have to do it. I'm responsible for this. This is my job. I have to do it. But for the most part, when you're on vacation and you have a job that's not an MLM, you get to actually be on vacation and spend time with your family, or spend time with your kids, or spend time with your partner. You don't have to be on the phone trying to sell makeup while you're in the hospital in labor, which is posts that we've seen multiple times of women being in labor, posting to their like Instagram or Facebook selfies of them in the bed. Oh, this is why I love my job so much. I'm sitting in the hospital and I'm still, you know, I can still talk to people because I can work from my phone. Like, that really fucking sucks. I would have hated having to work while I was in labor.
And then
that
they
really
get that
fucking sucks.
They get that epidural, and then the posts get all like jumbled, and you're like, "Girl, what you trying to say?" But
just imagine being in labor and sitting there trying to sell your shitty makeup and not even being a part of the experience, just being distracted by your phone and by selling shit to people.
Well, I have a confession to make. I work from my phone when I'm on vacation. But I work those camera angles, baby, for my selfies, and I gotta look good for my public, and I gotta be like, ooh, I don't like my right side. Ooh, the left side's a lot better. Oh no, this one doesn't make my tits look good enough in my bikini.
You do take great selfies, though. I have to say that. You do take really good selfies.
Well, thank you. Thank you, my dear, but I just work it. I work it on vacation. That's how I work. I make myself look good, and I make myself look like I'm having fun.
Exactly. Not like you're working because you're not in a cubicle scheme. Cubicle scheme sounds way better than pyramid scheme. I'm just saying. All right, next.
Why would you use a big retailer this Christmas when you could be helping a small business mother put food on the table, or buy ballet shoes for her daughter, or soccer uniforms for her son? Now, the first thing, I've seen this one a lot. I really like the heteronormativity of these posts, too. Like, do they not realize how gigantic the corporations they're working for really are? You're working for, like, Amway is probably just as big as Walmart.
Well, here's why they don't realize that, and here's why they say that, is they don't realize that they are not a small business. You're basically a retailer. You're literally a retailer. You're buying products from the company and selling them to other people for minimal profit, honestly. These MLM sellers don't make that much. They don't make a very high percentage of what they sell. If you really actually wanted to help a small business and help a mom, you know, buy ballet shoes for her daughter, buy from an actual small business where, you know, she's making stuff with her hands, or buying, even if she was like buying bulk warehouse stuff, that would still be making more than somebody selling an MLM, because she's able to set her own prices and she's able to buy things for cheaper and not buy them at cost from the company and then sell them for more, which would make them even higher priced.
Right, and I feel like we kind of touched on this in the last episode when we talked about Unique Purple Card, where you get paid every 3 hours. And it's really interesting to see if you type in the hashtag purple card into Instagram. You'll see a lot of people say, oh, look, I was able to buy my groceries with my little purple card because I get paid every 3 hours. And
do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know how else you can buy groceries?
By trading it for goods and services, like an Oregon Trail.
With a cubicle scheme job.
Booyah! Booyah!
Oregon Trail.
Snap! Yeah, you know,
bartering was still a thing.
Yeah, you know, when you go to the merchants and they're like, do you need to buy like 20 pounds of pickled meat? And you're like, yeah, I got an ox for that. And then you give him your ox, and then you've got all this jerky, and then your wagon can't move anywhere, and you're just like stuck in this like shit town.
Got an ox for that. That just made me think there's an app for that.
There's an ox for that. Gosh, way to take that reference back like 10 years. Holy shit.
I am not as young as you think I am. Everybody thinks I'm like a baby.
Oh, no. When I only joke around when I say that, like, I'm older than you, just because we're older by 5. Yeah, there's just a 5-year difference. I'm always like, well, I'm 30 and you're just 25.
I think most frequently it's that you say something and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, oh, you're probably too young for that. I'm like, 5 fucking years, Sasha. 5 years. Come on.
I think the last time we talked about was when I was explaining who Max Headroom was to you. Even Max Headroom wasn't even a part of my childhood. Max Headroom was a little bit before me, but I was exposed to Max Headroom much later in my life.
Next, get some crayons.
Again, that will never get old. I heard your child's been having a rough time recently with ADHD/autism/etc. These essential oils work great, and they have that seed to seal guarantee. Whatever that means, seed to seal.
It means nothing. That's what it means. It means absolutely nothing. And I don't have anything nice to say about that.
And that is one that's so complicated that we've discussed doing an episode about it this season, just because there are so many wormholes to go down with this one, and such a dark and sordid history with it. I just wanted to mention it because it is something that they use to prey on mothers who may be having a difficult time, and it's like, hey girl, hey hun.
Hey girl. We will do an episode on this topic in the future for this season. We have a guest lined up for it, and we'll be able to give some more educated responses to something like that from somebody who has been in that, who's had that experience and been in those shoes. But I personally, I don't have a child that has ADHD or anything like that. I grew up with a brother that had ADHD, so I don't have quite the right experience, I feel, to be able to give good advice on that. Because while I have strong feelings about it, as anyone should, I don't think that I'm necessarily in the position to be saying, here's what you should say. So we will do a full expanded episode on this specific topic later on in the season.
Yeah, I just thought it was really important to mention because it is a really slimy tactic that they all, well, I don't want to say all, but that a lot of sellers seem to use, and it seems to be a lot of the oil sellers, I would imagine. A lot of the oil sellers.
Yeah. And I think I've seen some Plexus people trying to sell that, either for the child or trying to sell it to the mom. This will give you energy to keep up with your kid.
Right.
Which is just as gross.
Hey, you want to hear something?
Is it your corn?
Right now I have it under my shirt, and I'm trying to move it, like, under my boobs, to get rid of that boob sweat. So... Oh, man, it would be great. If you need some white noise at night, to help you fall asleep, hit me up, and I can just loop this for 10 hours. And then you can think of me as you fall asleep.
I don't think I'd be able to fall asleep to that sound.
What if I made ocean sounds in the background, too, like...
Can you make whales?
That was a dolphin.
No, dolphins are too grating. You need whale sounds. That sounds like a dying whale.
It's singing a whale song to its other whales. Ooh, this corn is starting to get mushy.
Gross.
All right, next, we're going to talk about dogs and cats. Oh, essential oils won't kill your cat. We have a special line just for animals.
Why does your cat need essential oils? Whose cat needs essential oils? For what?
Well, I read an article how someone's housekeeper was putting essential oils in the cat's litter box, and then it passed away. How about instead of putting lavender or thieves in your cat's litter box, you actually scoop the litter box every day? It just seems like common sense. If you don't want to scoop the litter box every day, get one of those, like, I actually don't know how well they work. Those robo litter boxes where it, like, takes the turds and it slides them over into, like, this shit bin.
Well, you know what you could also do is they make specific litter box spray. I only know this because we used to have cats, and I'm very sensitive to that smell, and plus I was pregnant. All of that combined. But they make specific sprays that you can buy to spray on the litter, and it'll keep it from stinking. And it's way cheaper. Young Living doTERRA essential oils.
Still doesn't sound healthy for the cat. I don't know if I'd really... I mean,
I don't think it's bad. It's like a clear spray, and it's just like it's not anything with a whole bunch of chemicals, you know, some basic stuff to help neutralize the odors. It doesn't, like, you know, work so well that you can't smell anything. It does the job.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Anyway, it doesn't matter about my cat's shitting preferences. We don't need to get into that.
Or you can just change the litter every day.
You could change the litter every day. But I do have a funny story that I was telling Katie about this. My cat, who is a gigantic pig, somehow got into 2 bags of unopened treats, ate everything out of both bags, telling Katie, oh my God, this cat is going to diarrhea somewhere in the house, and I hope I find it eventually before we start to smell it. And I have my Ouija board propped up here in my guest room since I kind of use it as an office and it's on display. It's an old Ouija board I found where he diarrheaed on the bookshelf and it splattered all over my Ouija board. So sorry, spirits. Hope that doesn't, cats kind of have like a sixth sense, right? Maybe he was just trying to talk to the spirits through shit splatter.
Or maybe it was like telling a spirit to fuck off by shitting on the Ouija board.
Oh shit, you think we've got a bad spirit in the house?
I mean, not necessarily, but if the cat doesn't like spirits, I mean, unless you were recently using the Ouija board and stupidly forgot to say bye, like goodbye, maybe the cat was trying to hit the goodbye with his shit. Bye. See ya. Done.
This is like, it's like, it's like he's that old woman from the Poltergeist who goes, this house is clean. So now that we've talked about, we barely touched on
cats communicating with ghosts.
Yeah, cats communicating with ghosts. We barely touched on the oils, but yeah, don't use, especially cats are very, very sensitive to oils.
I mean, there's not a lot to say about that. Just don't use them. Don't use essential oils with your pets. There's literally no need.
And a pet line, I can't imagine what the difference would be between the formulas with pets and humans. Like, what are they going to do? Add catnip to it?
The label.
The label. And it's got that seed to seal guarantee. All right. Another one. We won't necessarily mention the companies for this one. It's an important one to touch on nonetheless. Oh, your hair is falling out and your lips are burning off? That's just detoxing, and it's good for you.
I don't think we even have to mention the company name for literally everyone to know who we're talking about. And I have a very personal hatred. I didn't use it, but I do have a very personal hatred for this particular company and its products. And no, your hair doesn't detox. Body in general doesn't need to detox. You have organs for that. And hair does not detox. And if it's falling out, not because you're washing it wrong, because that's not a thing. There's not really a wrong way to wash your hair. You may not get it completely clean. There's not a wrong way to wash your hair.
Unless you're like using the shampoo your feet or something.
But then you're not washing
your hair. Like, I'm just saying.
Okay, here, let me give a brief instructional on how to wash your hair. Squeeze out the shampoo either into your hand or onto your head. Either way, make sure the shampoo gets onto your head.
Wait. Let me stop you there. If you squeeze it onto your head, how do you know that you're using the allotted dime size that they say that you're supposed to use on the back of every bottle, but actually everyone just puts like a gigantic baseball-sized glob in their hand?
Yeah, I use like a mandarin orange size amount of shampoo.
No, I do too. And I have short hair now, but I have thick short hair.
Listen, I love shampoo, okay? I love the smell of shampoo. I love how clean my hair feels when I use it. I am not going to limit myself to using a dime size amount of shampoo because that is not self-love. So you've got the shampoo on your scalp, on your head. You're going to massage it into your scalp and into your hair, all over your roots. And I just want you all to know that I am currently doing hand motions for this instructional on how to shampoo your hair. It's too bad you can't see it because it's very funny. But
I use hand motions all the time when I'm doing this podcast. I'm always, yeah.
I can't not do it. Okay, so you're going to massage it in from the front of your hairline to the back of your hairline. Just get it all over. Don't wash your face with it. Okay, don't wash your face with your shampoo. And if you do that, don't tell me that you do it. Don't hurt me like that. Okay, just don't.
Sounds like it's sting. I use, shampoo for color so that my color doesn't fade. I feel like that would really, really, really sting.
Some people use 3-in-1 and wash their face and their whole body and everything. And I don't, I'm not judging people who do that, but I don't understand how you can think that you're getting clean by doing that, because you're...
So you are judging. You're judging.
I'm not judging. You're just judging. Saying, the skin on your face is different from the skin on the rest of your body, and it's definitely different from your hair. So once you've got it all lathered in, washed your hair from roots to tips, you're going to rinse it out, and you're done. That's it. That's it. That's it. You don't need a 20-step process to shampoo your hair, and your shampoo should definitely not be making your hair fall out. And after that whole ordeal with Wen, I don't know how these people are managing to convince people that their hair falling out is not a bad thing.
Oh God, Wen. That's a blast from the past. Things with like Wen remind me of when we go back to the Wen era, Pure Moods, CD commercials, on late night, Miss Cleo. I feel like that's all part of the same era.
Yeah.
Oh, well, also, before I get next, I was just saying for detoxing. By that line of thinking, if hair falling out or your lips peeling, by that line of thinking, I could detox by eating Taco Bell, because I will probably lose 2 pounds of body weight through my ass.
You know what? That's a good way to look at it.
It's an excellent way to look at it. You should get at me at my Twitter handle, which we will link in the show notes, and I will tell you all about this detoxing diet.
I do want to ask one of these reps that tell me that my hair falling out means it's detoxing, if I can detox my body through Taco Bell. I just want to know what they say.
Oh, yeah, maybe we should add that to the anti-MLM responses.
Ask them if you can detox your body by eating Taco Bell.
Okay, now we are truly moving on.
Let me just say real quick. Just to put a cap on that. Just
put a cap on it.
Tie a neat little bow on it. Okay, if something is harmful to your body and causing your hair to fall out or your scalp to itch or sores or your skin peeling, that is not a detox. There is no way that is going to end with a good result. That is harmful to your body, and you need to stop doing it immediately. Okay, moving on.
That was a good button. I like that. I got this idea from BotWatch. This is a really, really good one that we don't really talk enough about in the group.
Love BotWatch.
God, she is incredible. She is the bomb. I call her the bomb bot. Love bombing. This is why we see so many MLMers use the term like hun, hey girl, girly, etc. It's a tactic to get you to warm up to this person. Hey hun, I love your pictures and you could totally be a model. So they keep piling on the compliments every time you try to argue with them, because you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. They will, yeah.
I was looking at your Instagram pics, and you are so pretty. I just think you'd be so good at what I do.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why they use those intimate wording, like hun, sweetie. I don't think they say sweetie very often. I was about to say baby. I'd be like, hey, baby.
Oh, please don't. Oh, please don't. No, let's not. Don't go there. Don't let people compliment you into giving them your money.
Yeah, no, and this is a common sales tactic that has worked for millennia. Just look at those guys at the kiosk at the mall. Hey,
oh, your hair's so pretty. Let me try this flat iron on it.
Exactly.
If you think it's pretty, why do you want to change it?
Because you could look so much better.
Apparently, yeah, because I care about some random man's opinion on my hair. Anywho, if they try to love bomb you, just tell them, oh, thanks, that's so sweet of you. I'm good. Accept the compliment, because they're probably going to hate it if you accept the compliment and then turn them down. Let's be honest. Accept the compliment for what it is, politely turn them down, and hope that they go away. Cross your fingers, close your eyes, make a wish.
If you are or you aren't a genuine model, like we've seen this in the group before, where they're like, okay, let me send you my rates per hour for modeling. When the rep isn't getting the desired result they want from you, don't be surprised if they call you an ugly bitch or a cunt
Yes,
after they call you
yes.
beautiful.
We did have a member who was an actual model. Somebody messaged them, I think it was like Unique or something like that, and she was like, "Oh, your pictures are so beautiful. I was wondering if you would model for me." And she was like, gave her rates, and the seller, like you said, didn't get the result that she wanted. And when the model turned her down, she was like, "Well, you're an ugly bitch anyway, and nobody would want you to model for them."
No, she definitely said,
Girl,
"See you next Tuesday."
A model. She did. For me, everybody has their harsh words, and that one I reserve for very special circumstances.
But here's the thing. The word cunt actually comes from the word cunning. At least I learned this in Vagina Monologues. Who knows? Take it with a grain of salt. But the word cunt comes from words like cunning, being very, very smart, where vagina means sheath for a sword. So in the end, cunt is kind of, I've always enjoyed the word cunt just because it makes you sound like very, very smart and very witty and very on top of things. Again, I'm talking out of my ass right now. I don't remember where I read this. I took Latin 15 years ago in high school. Bless my heart, right?
Kind of along those lines, this kind of made me think of this was if they do resort to insulting you or calling you names, just continue thanking them.
Kill him with kindness.
Kill him with kindness.
Kill him with kindness.
Oh, you think I'm a bitch? How nice. I try really hard. Thank you so much.
Hashtag boss bitch.
What a sweetheart. All right, moving on.
Okay, we got one more before we go on to our next segment. This one is probably my absolute favorite because it is so ridiculous, and I can't believe anyone would actually say this. You can leave a legacy for generations, like it's a family business that you pass down, like a bakery.
Oh, what's my family legacy? Every generation has sold Tupperware. No, we don't have mansions. We just,
So I went to the state fair on Tuesday, as I mentioned in the previous episode. I've just been mentioning the previous episode this whole time, but so I went to
episode.
It's a good episode. I saw no less than 3 Tupperware booths and 1 Scentsy booth.
Seems like a weird place to sell Tupperware, but
Well,
I'm
it's
not a boss babe, so I guess I don't know.
It's in they call it cool shopping. So during the hottest part of the day, you go in and there's all these different booths where you can buy Vitamixes, kind of all these products that you might see in a Sky Mall magazine. There was 2 Tupperware booths and a Scentsy booth. Tupperware was getting a lot of business, I will say. There were quite a few people looking at Tupperware. However,
I could imagine that, especially if people were buying food at the state fair. So, maybe they were buying food and then taking it home for later.
Oh, snap.
And they needed a Tupperware to put it in.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. But the Scentsy lady, she looked pretty sad. She looked sad. She had all the little loveys that you can put the scent packs in. They were all dangling from push-up tent. She had a big banner. And just no one was coming in.
Just in there looking all forlorn.
So yeah, that's the legacy you want to leave for generations, is so that your children can end up selling MLM products at state and county fairs for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that sounds like a really, really good legacy.
At least it's
very
air-conditioned.
Exciting.
So, because the problem with these businesses leaving a legacy is that they don't. They're either busted for being pyramid schemes eventually. Some of them are anyway, hopefully. Or the money just runs out. Okay, wrapping up all those arguments that those MLM reps tell you that sound absolutely, utterly ridiculous. We are going to start to get into the arguments that you can say back that don't make you sound like a total bitch. So we will get right into those right after this musical interlude break. So hang tight. So we are back, and we've got some good arguments for you. Katie, what do you think is the most important thing about a good argument for someone who's trying to sell you something? Like what should we really be focusing on? I know that that's kind of a general question, and you kind of answered it in the intro, like, don't be a dick.
Just, the thing is that you don't want to give them a reason to blame you for what went wrong, you know what I mean? If they just kind of come at you with, hey, I think you'd be great at what I do, don't just be like, yeah, you can just fuck right off over there. Just, try to be kind, try to be nice. The thing about it is most people that are in MLMs, they just don't realize the full extent of what's happening. They're in the MLM because they don't realize how much the company is taking advantage of them. And that's a big thing I feel like I need to advocate all the time, is that people that are in MLMs, for the most part, this doesn't go for all of them, very frequently, people that are in MLMs are just as much a victim of the company as anyone else. They've been duped into buying into the company by somebody else that's involved. They believe all of the lies that the company and their upline tell them about how they're going to be rich. That's a big thing with Amway. I think with most of the companies, they don't give really extravagant goals. LuLaRoe was really big on full-time pay for part-time work. They're not claiming they're going to make you rich, but they're claiming that you're going to make the most amount of money for the minimal amount of work.
I was just saying, I think that hits the nail on the head. And one of the things that I feel like, gosh, we really shouldn't have to mention, but I feel like it's important, and it goes kind of beyond being a asshole in a reply, is if you see a phone number on the back of somebody's minivan for pure romance or whatever, it's not okay to call that person and harass them and troll them.
Absolutely. Don't harass them. And this is something I won't go super, even though I had to stop myself from doing it. We won't go super in depth into this in this episode, because we've already gone super in depth into this with a past episode. We did a 2-part episode with Elbow and Botwatch on how to help a friend in an MLM. And kind of, even if it's not a friend, even if it's a stranger, like Sasha's saying, if you see somebody driving down the street with their phone number and their email and their website plastered across their back window, don't just contact them. Hey, you're in a pyramid scheme. They're just taking advantage of you. You're not going to make any money. You're a parasite. Don't just go after them, because that is not going to accomplish anything. It's not going to accomplish anything at all. The only thing it's going to accomplish, they're going to block you. They're not going to want to hear anything you have to say. And if there is somebody in their life that's, trying to help them and is slowly working on helping them out of the MLM and convincing them that this is a bad idea and they're losing money, you're going to immediately stop all of the progress that they made.
Exactly. And when they listen to, let's just say, someone who is in an MLM comes across a podcast like this, they're going to think that we think that about them, that we think that they're stupid, that they are bad people. And there are people who do realize that they're in the scamming game, but the majority of people honestly think that they're making an honest living because that's what they've been told. When you tell somebody, you are such a predator, you're a bitch, you're sucking people dry, they're not going to listen to anyone else who's trying to help them get out in their life.
Exactly. Think about if you were in their shoes. Hypothetically, if I was in an MLM, Sasha, what MLM do you think I would be in if I sold an MLM?
Oh, I already know this because we did the April Fool's Day episode. It would be Road and Fields.
Yeah. Well, that would actually be like the last MLM I would join. But we'll go with Roden and Fields. So say I sold Roden and Fields and I thought that this product line was absolutely amazing. It's made from unicorn blood and Jesus's tears, and it will absolutely cure any sort of skin condition that you have. You will look young forever. It will completely reverse the aging process. The shit is the bee's knees, right? I'm all in. I'm totally going for it. I think I'm going to make tons of money. I don't know that this is a pyramid scheme. I don't know that I'm being scammed out of my money. I don't know that I'm scamming other people out of their money by recruiting them into my downline. I think I'm doing a great thing, and I think that the people under me are doing a great thing, and I think that I'm genuinely helping people. If you message me and were like, hey, guess what? That product line is shit. Everything about that company is shit. You're scamming people out of money, ruining people's skin. You're a total asshole. you need to stop. Do you really think that that's going to convince me to stop selling this line? Or is it going to tell me this person's a hater and they're jealous and they're not on my level?
And if you notice in this podcast, we try, and in the group, we try very, very carefully to not make fun of the person who is, we never try to attack people in MLMs. We always try to be snarky on the companies themselves. That's really important to us in this podcast. When we get like funny with it, we never, ever, ever want somebody who's in an MLM to feel like we are putting them down. We are always putting the company down because it's the company.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is super important to us. We do not think any of them are stupid, which, yeah.
Sorry. And the same goes for the group as well. Of course, whenever MLM sellers find out about the group, I couldn't tell you how frequently that happens, but because we have a rule that they're not allowed in the group, we don't have a lot of issues with it. But whenever they do find out about the group, they get really pissed off. They think that we're just there because we're haters, because we hate them. We think that they're stupid. We think that, all kinds of terrible things. And that's not the case. Even in the posts that are directly about someone, the only time that I really see group members being hateful towards a seller is when they're truly being a terrible person.
Like trying to make money off of somebody whose child has just passed away.
Exactly. Yes, there's been more posts than I care to know about where somebody has recently lost a loved one and another person has tried to make money off of it, because they've one specific one that I can think of right now is somebody had lost a loved one and essential oil seller contacted them trying to sell them some kind of essential oil that was going to help them with the grieving process and make them feel better.
Right.
And that's one of those very specific cases where it's just like, you know what? Fuck you. That's disgusting. That is not okay. It doesn't matter what you're selling. That's not okay at all. So, we don't hate MLM people. We don't hate MLM sellers. We don't really like the company owners.
Right. Exactly.
Because obviously they know what they're doing. As a general blanket statement, we don't hate MLM sellers, and we're not here to say nasty things about them. We're not here to make fun of them or be mean to them or be rude or anything like that. We're not the enemy. We're here to help anybody that we can, and that includes people that are thinking, oh, this MLM seems like it might be a good idea, and we're here to say, hey, no, it's really not, here's why. Or people that have friends or family in MLMs and they need support or they need help or they need advice. People that have just gotten out of an MLM. And in fact, we recently started a second group to go along with the main group called Sounds Like MLM But Okay Survivors Edition. So this group is specifically for people that were previously in MLMs because they need so much support. They need so much help and they need to know it's okay. And that's because they feel bad. I've talked to so many former MLM sellers that tell me, I just feel so awful. I feel like I've lost all these friends and I feel like they don't ever want to talk to me again. I feel like I can't face my family. I feel bad because I targeted everybody in my life that I cared about and tried to sell to them.
And I think Elbow makes a really good point on that in her Punique tale, where she feels like she basically pushed all of her loved ones away. And Katie and I have both had people that we love very, very much who have been involved in multi-level marketing, and some who are still involved in multi-level marketing, and they're not dumb people. I would never make fun of them. We just get snarky because these companies and these copy pastas just get they're just so ridiculous and emoji laden. Like it's just something else. But
more than anything, sorry.
Oh, I was just reminded, since we're talking about death and and multi-level marketing on a bit of, brevity here. Do you remember the woman who faked her death so that she could get free LuLaRoe?
I barely even saw that. I must have been really busy with work at the time or something, because I heard wind of it, but I didn't really see the whole story.
I'll look it up because I think it anyway.
Yeah.
We've covered enough on that. Yeah.
Well, the whole point of this, again, just to put a neat little bow on it, the whole point of this tangent we went off on, I guess mostly me, like I'm doing a lot of talking right now.
Oh, well, I started the tangent, so.
Is that it's more than anything, it's the companies themselves. Because the companies, the owners of the companies, and the people that work at the companies themselves, like, higher up, they know what they're doing. They know what's happening, and they know that people are losing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So, like I said, it's not a blanket statement. We don't just hate MLM sellers. We don't. I don't really hate anyone. I don't hate people. I just am not that kind of person. So if if you are in the group or you listen to this podcast, just know I don't hate you. It's okay. I love you. But more than anything,
we're all trying we're all trying to do our best out there, and sometimes we make mistakes.
We're here to help people. We really, really, truly are. We are here to help people. And if you need help, if you have a loved one that needs help, a friend that needs help, you can contact us. We'll talk to you. We'll help you to the best of our ability. But more than anything, like you said, it's the companies themselves. And, there are, of course, there's always bad people out there. And the same goes for MLMs, is that for the most part, it's innocent people that don't realize what's happening. They don't know what's going on. They don't realize that they're going to lose tons of money in this. They don't realize that other people have lost thousands of money in it. I mean, just take LuLaRoe, for example. Obviously, people have lost tens of thousands of dollars, and there are still people onboarding because they don't know. They don't see it. They don't realize it. You can't hold it against somebody if they just don't know. You can to a degree because, like Google shit. But if they just really don't know, you can't just outright be rude to them or be angry at them. You have to be kind and gentle. And if you feel like you're in a position to try to tell somebody, hey, this new venture you're on, not really a great idea. I've seen lots of people losing money. Here's some articles about it. Here's an article about the owner. Here's a bunch of people's personal experiences. Then yeah, go for it. Be careful. Be gentle. Be kind. Don't just come at them. Like I said, don't just come at them with, hey, you're a shitty person. That's a shitty line. It's a shitty company. You should feel like a piece of shit because you are. Because that's not going to help anything. That's not going to help anything at all. Constructive criticism, just criticism.
Yeah, and I think that dovetails nicely into our arguments that we're about to begin, because I think some of these are kind of funny, but most of these are very respectful. So I'll start with number 1. Just say no. Just like Nancy Reagan said in the 80s about the misguided war on drugs. Say no. No is a complete sentence, and you don't necessarily have to respond. It may sound a little blunt, but it is definitely very effective, and you don't have to respond, you don't have to engage, just say no.
And the great thing about social media and technology, because most of the time MLM people contact you through some kind of social media or texting you or something like that. And like Sasha said, if you don't feel comfortable just saying no because you feel like it's a little too blunt, you can just, you can make it polite. You can say, oh, no, thank you. Oh, I'm not really interested. I'm okay. And if you just don't want to deal with it, you just don't want to listen to their responses, and it's somebody that you can do this with, just block them. No, thank you. Block. Done. Or if it's somebody you can't block, like if they're messaging you through Facebook, you can like turn off the notifications so you won't even know that they messaged you.
Yeah, you can.
You don't want to hear what they have to say. You want them to leave you alone. You don't want to engage. Turn off the notifications. Make it
the
go
conversation.
away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't engage. Just, it's and at a certain point it comes down to your own mental health, comes down to your own sanity. If it's like, I really can't deal with this right now, I can't listen to this right now, just, make it go away. Mute the conversation. Tell them you're done. If they keep pushing and they can't respect your own personal space, they're gone. That's it. Done. See ya. Bye. Blocked.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which I realize is not as easy as it sounds. Like Sasha was saying earlier, we have, people that we have close personal relationships that have or currently do sell MLMs. And for me, I have somebody that I have a very close personal relationship with emotionally and by proximity. No, it's not my husband that sells an MLM. And she repeatedly tried to get us to get involved, over the course of several months. And it did get to the point where it was like, oh, can you just stop? But, we did our best to, it's a person that we can't really just be rude to and be like, okay, that's enough. We don't want to hear it. Just stop, So it did take some time and it did take some patience. But we just repeatedly, every time it got brought up, we just, we don't really have the money for it right now. Oh, well, you can make the money back. I'll fret you for it, blah, 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 whatever. No, we just don't feel comfortable doing that. No, we just don't really want to get involved.
And I'll get into some of those too.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah. So the whole point just though was it may not be as easy as we make it sound. It really may not. But, you have to do what's best for you. I'm a huge advocate of you have to do what's best for you.
I agree. And it's all about you. You have to take care of your mental health first.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that does mean hurting people that we love. The second one is if you want to be a little bit more helpful. I know that that Katie did a very excellent interview with Elbow and Botwatch about how to help a friend who, was it getting out of an MLM or just who's in an MLM? I wasn't in that episode. I listened to it, but I can't quite remember.
It was a 2-part episode, and it's just how to help a friend in an MLM, where we talk about how to talk to a friend who's considering getting into an MLM, how to talk to a friend or loved one who's currently in an MLM, and how to help somebody who's trying to get out of or has recently gotten out of an MLM. So we cover a lot of what to say and what not to say, and talk about their own personal experiences. It's a 2-part episode, so we covered a lot of stuff. We covered a lot of ground in that mini series. Of course, I personally think that it was great.
No, it was a great episode.
No,
it was
Bot and Elle
fantastic.
did really awesome. They were super helpful. They had a lot of great pointers. So if you do have a friend or family member that is involved in an MLM and you are in the position where you can try to help them without pushing them away, definitely give those episodes a listen. Or even if you're not, go ahead and give them a listen, because you may need them in the future. But I just can't reiterate enough, the whole being patient and being kind and being gentle, and not just straight coming at them with, this is bad and you need to stop, because that's absolutely not going to help. And a huge reason why that's not going to help is because their uplines are telling them you're going to have haters, you're going to have negative people, and if people tell you that this is bad, you need to cut them off. So you have to be really, really careful about what you say and how you address them, because they've already got other people in their ear telling them, they're going to say this, they're going to say this is how you come back with it, or you need to just cut them off.
So the next thing, kind of going off of that, if you are willing to engage with somebody in a loving way and an educational kind of way, one of our listeners suggested that you mentioned the FTC statistic, which is well over 99% of people lose money in multi-level marketing.
And we do have I really need to update it and add some more files. But if you are in the group, we do have a files section with specific articles about various companies or just MLMs in general. A lot of like helpful information in there. So that may be worth a visit if you're trying to help somebody out, or if you're just trying to add something to your arsenal.
So the next one we have, it's a little bit more aggressive, but if you want to take a more aggressive route, maybe this isn't. Maybe you can word it a little bit better, but it is kind of an important point. Maybe if you're talking to a close friend, where like if it were me and Katie was going to anyway. You have an upline, and they have an upline. So how are you your own boss exactly? And we saw this as a great example with the Jamberry, the nail press-ons, falling under. So if you were your own boss, wouldn't you be able to keep your Jamberry business?
Yeah, that's a huge one that they like to claim is, I'm my own boss. And that ties into the whole cubicle scheme too. They're really truly not their own boss. The only thing that makes them their own boss is that they can work whenever they please. If they want to be successful, that's all the time. They have to constantly be working. If you were truly, genuinely your own boss, you wouldn't be able to work whenever you want. Actually, if you owned your own company, you'd be working 24/7 because that's what it's like to own your own company. You work nonstop to make that company successful.
Well, to be fair, though, a lot of these women and men in multi-level marketing are working nonstop. They work. I remember reading about LuLaRoe women working 80-hour weeks.
It kind of goes back and forth, kind of like my train of thought did just now.
Yeah,
it kind
exactly,
of goes back and forth because, and you kind of have to just navigate around all of those points. Is no, you're not your own boss because you have an upline. That's really the only argument you need when they say, oh, well, I have my own boss. Well, no, you really don't, because you have somebody above you who tells you what to do. And that is exactly what their upline does, is they give them training materials and they give them things to post. And
an upline to an upline to an upline to an upline that eventually reaches the CEO of the company.
Yeah, which is the exact opposite of being your own boss. Just because you get to choose when and how much you work does not mean that you are your own boss. I get to choose when and how much I work, but I am definitely not my own boss.
Right, yeah. You have, like, a fantastic job. And
I just have a super cool job with super awesome bosses.
And if you want to hear how awesome her boss is, you should listen to our Man Cave episode with her boss, Mike. Because the Man Cave episode was hysterical. It was about this old manly Tupperware party type of thing, and we got Mike to be our resident father of the day for our Father's Day episode, and you can just hear just what a fantastic hilarious fucking guy he is.
He's great. And we even he played, there was a section of the episode where he was like asked if he could interject or something, and you'll hear a motorcycle sound, and we both assumed that it was a recording and found out later that he had actually gone outside while we were talking to him and started his motorcycle.
No, yeah, he's hella tight. He's good in my book. Okay, so anyway. The next one. You shouldn't have to pay to start a job. And a lot of times MLMers will come back and say, like, well, you have to spend money to make money. But it's different when you're actually your own customer. Like, every single job I've had, like when I worked at the funeral home, I was given a $350 clothing allowance so that week I could come back to work with suits and pantsuits and skirt suits, black high heels, just so I would look professional within the first couple days. When I worked at, just every single job I've ever had, I've never had to pay for anything. And if I did pay for something out of pocket, I kept the receipt and I was reimbursed immediately.
And that mostly goes for like professional jobs, because I've worked a couple of retail jobs where I did have to pay for clothes out of pocket. But the difference is in materials. If I had to purchase materials or things to sell, I wouldn't have had to purchase that out of my own pocket. That would have been given to you by the company.
Right. Like, I'm thinking about
materials or products. That's what I was trying to think of. Products.
Yeah, especially like if I would need like embalming makeup or embalming equipment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would definitely be paid for by the company. I wouldn't have to go seek that out. Even if it was like a specific tool that I needed that would make it better for me, the company would still pay for it because they would want me to see, they would want to see me do my best work.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, at that point, it's like, again, you are your own customer. You are buying into this. You are buying their product, and that just kind of blows. Okay, so the next one, I stole these from Reddit, from the user ADVCTHRYE, which I assume stands for Advocate Throwaway, which I think is very appropriate considering that they were on the anti-MLM subreddit. And they have some good ones that I would like to share. Hunbot. I understand, of course, instead of saying Hunbot, you put the person's name in. You're not going to be an asshole. But
don't do like they do and leave the insert name here on the message.
Gosh. Yeah, that is so... We should almost make an entire episode just reading... Anyway... Just a silly episode. Hunbot, I understand what you're getting at, but I'm not interested. I have, insert, sensitive skin, fragile hair, hormonal issues, health issues in general, you know, whatever your ailment is. And for that reason, I am only able to consider, insert, supplements, exercise regimen, skincare that have been suggested by my doctor/dietitian/dermatologist. I am not a candidate for this opportunity/product. Thanks.
That's pretty good. It's a pretty good response.
Yeah, it's really polite. It's to the point, and it's just like, you know, no, I'm not going to be your target audience for this.
Yeah.
The other one they had is, no, I trust my professional and am confident that they will bring appropriate treatment options to my attention as is necessary. I'm really not comfortable discussing this any further.
Those are really good responses.
Yeah, that's why I copied and pasted them. I was like,
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That's why we took them.
And that's why...
Those are really good responses because those are really hard to argue against. You know, if you say, I'm really only comfortable getting professional advice from this person I'm already working with. You know, what are they going to respond with? Well, my doctor this or my doctor that. Well, you know, I said I'm only comfortable getting help from my professional, so there's really not a lot you can say back to that.
And they have one more here. I am not interested, and I certainly hope you aren't trying to convince people with medical issues to use your product/program without the approval of their medical professional, because I'm sure, insert MLM's name here, legal department wouldn't be pleased about that. Don't contact me again. Now, I kind of skimmed the post, so I'm guessing that these are 3 you can use in succession if this Hunbot kind of keeps bothering you, but I really, really like these 3.
Yeah, those are really good responses. So thank you to Reddit user whatever Sasha said your name was, because those are really good responses. What was it? Advocate Throwaway, or yeah.
This is from a Reddit user, ADVCTHRWY. You're an angel. These are fantastic responses, and
listeners, go find them on Reddit and give them upvotes. They deserve it.
Oh, actually, I think the thread was archived, so you can't give them upvotes anymore. But you can definitely just appreciate them. Okay, so the next one is... This is one I made up because it's one that we see in the group a lot. Someone just cold messages you, and you're like, who the hell are you? And it's, do I even know you? How did you find me? This is creepy. Please don't contact me again.
It is really, really weird. People that you don't know try to contact you. And honestly, it is, for various reasons, a good idea to ask them where they found you, how they know you, you know, things like that. Because if they found you off of a friend's friend list, then you're probably going to want to contact that friend and let them know, because there's a good chance that that friend does not appreciate this happening. I've seen that happen multiple times where somebody has gone through a person's friend list and contacted people, and they've been like, whoa, that is not cool. Like,
alternatively,
really pissed about it.
Sometimes they find you in a group that you happen to both be members in. please message that admin, because most of the time the admins are not on board with members soliciting other members to sell their wares.
A lot of Facebook groups are not cool with that. Even if they do allow promoting MLMs in the group or things like that, they're not down with members messaging other members to solicit sales. I'm not in a lot of groups that would just be like, whatever. So there's a really good chance that, yeah, you should message the admin and let them know, because they're not going to be okay with that happening.
Okay, so the next one, I was inspired by Elbow's Punique tale again with this one, is, listen, I love you so-and-so, but if you can continue to talk about products, I am going to have to remove you from my life. It's taking over you.
That's going to be saved for people that you're, a little bit closer to. But there's a really good chance that if you use that one with somebody, there's a chance that they're going to get really upset and they're going to be like, okay, fine, see ya.
But sometimes they do come to their senses. Yeah.
Exactly. On the other hand, they may hear that and go, oh, wow, I didn't realize that, and maybe kind of look at themselves and say, oh, man, you're right. So, it could go either way. It just depends on the person.
It depends on the person and the relationship you have with the person. Like, I believe it was Elle and her stepsister, who was basically her best friend, and her stepsister just kind of kept creeping away from her.
Yeah.
And she said, I just can't have a conversation with you unless you bring up Unique, and I'm sick of it. Call me when you're done with this.
Which is hard to hear. That's really hard to hear. And depending on the person, it's going to be hard to hear no matter who you are. But depending on the person, they're either going to say, okay, well, fuck you. Or they're going to say, oh, wow, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize that. And they're going to take a look at themselves and have an epiphany.
So the next one is my favorite. This is a funny one. I'm a trust fund baby. I don't need the extra income.
And that reminds me of a post that we actually saw earlier today in the group. Somebody was approached by a Primerica representative while the person was at work and asked them if they would be interested in having extra money. I mean, yes. Who's gonna say
I
no
want
to
extra
that?
money.
Which is honestly kind of douchey, because they know that the person is going to say, well, yeah. Like, who's going to say no? But honestly, if I had an MLM person message me or approach me and ask me that, I'd be like, nah, I don't need money. I'm good. Thanks, though.
Money is the root of all evil. Just say that. Just be like, no, I don't believe in money. Again,
Money can't buy you happiness.
I'm with the bartering system where, I trade my ox for 20 pounds of grain and bear jerky. And the second to last one I have is, and this is very simple, and you talked about it a little bit, I don't want to work from home. I'm happy getting out of the house. I have my own life at work. For me, I know that I've always liked going to work. I like socializing with my work friends. There's a certain kind of bond when you're in I've also always been in very, very strange fields of work.
That's true.
So I'm among my people. It's nice to be around people who understand exactly what you're going through.
Some people are very social, and some people just enjoy going to work. Some people like to get out of the house. I know that is a shocker to certain individuals. Some people enjoy working outside of the home, whether it be just because they like that extra bit of socialization that they have with their coworkers, like you were talking about, or because they just like to, have a reason to make themselves leave the house 5 days a week or however many days a week, or whether it's because they have kids and they're like, man, I need to get the fuck away from these children because they're driving me nuts and I'm about to pull my hair out because they won't stop touching me.
Right. And also, I think for a lot of people, home is their sanctuary. And so when they're done with work for the day, they want to come home and just shut it off. They want to come home, watch Gordon Ramsay's 24 Hours to Hell, which is now my current new favorite show, which I know is totally scripted, but I have a huge crush on Gordon Ramsay, let's face it. And, I just want to tune out.
Yeah.
And if you work, I think that the problem is when some people work from home. I don't think it's like that for a lot of people. I would definitely consider working from home. Well, I kind of do on the podcast. I think that when you mix home with business, sometimes it's really hard to draw that line of when you need to stop working, when you need to put the computer down, when you need to put the phone down, turn the TV on, grab your Target wine cube, and just veg.
Yeah, it definitely can be. You know, unless you start drinking beer at like 11 a.m., which I'm totally not looking down on. But
breakfast beer. They do that in some parts of the world,
start
you know.
The day right, man.
Bread in a bottle.
It is. It can definitely be difficult for some people to know when the day is over, when it's okay to be done working, shut it down, you know, relax. I think that a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I still have this to do. I still have this to do. I still have this to do. And so they feel like they can't be done until it's done. But, you know, everybody has their own preferences. Everybody has their own specific, you know, I'd rather work at home. I'd rather work outside of the home. It's very presumptuous of MLM sellers to assume that everybody wants to be able to work at home. Everybody wants to be able to work, you know, whenever and wherever they want.
But you know what I do when I film this podcast, or not film, when I record this podcast, you know, writing an episode or researching, I always make sure to put a bra on. Because once the bra is on, it's like, we are in business. Because have you ever worked a job where the very first thing you do when you walk in the door is take the bra off and fling it on the ground?
Oh, that's not even like job specific. I do that literally every time I leave the house and come back.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I used to work at a floral shop. I had a similar thing where, you know, I went into work, I put on my apron, it was time to get to work and get going for the day. And then once I was done, the apron came off, it went on the hook, that was it, I was done, no more working, you can't make me.
And the very, very last one we have, which I feel like may be the harshest one, but sometimes it's the most effective, sometimes it's the one you have to do. We spoke a little bit about it earlier. Sometimes you got to use that block button. You just got to block.
Yep.
Especially,
there's a lot of very specific circumstances, like we talked about earlier, like you said, wherein it's very inappropriate, it's harmful, it's just simply not okay for a lot of reasons. You know, sometimes it even gets to the point where the seller is like harassing you and will not leave you alone. You know, when it gets to that point, or you feel personally insulted, or you feel like this is not okay and I'm not okay with you doing this, you got to get rid of that. You got to be done. You got to make that decision and say, you know what, I'm out. That's it.
I think that this is appropriate, again, if it's someone who's cold messaged you out of the blue from a group or a mutual friend or whatever. It's someone you don't know and it's creepy. I've definitely just blocked them without any sort of polite response.
Yeah. And you don't have to feel bad about that. They know it's coming. You know, to be blunt, they know what's going to happen, and you don't need to feel bad about just not even responding to them.
Well, and we've seen so many women who have been in the coalition who have sold, you know, who previously were reps for multi-level marketing, who were very disappointed about how many people were blocking them. So yeah. It is something that they expect. A lot of them do not feel comfortable doing cold messages. They don't, because they realize that people don't want to hear from them. Okay, well, that wraps it up for this last section of the arguments. If you have any other arguments, you can definitely, when we post this episode up, share some more of them. Tell us which ones are your favorites, which ones you don't like. We will be right back after this little musical interlude, and we will wrap the show up. So hang tight, don't move. We'll be right back. Welcome back, listeners. It's about time to say goodbye. It's kind of sad. It's kind of like at the end of Mr. Rogers when when he starts to say goodbye to all of us, and you have that sad kind of feeling in the pit of your stomach. You know what I mean?
It's okay though, because we'll be back.
We will be back. The last note I would like to say is, it's really important to educate people as much as we can. Like I said, you did an entire episode with Ellen Bott on how to help your friend in an MLM, but sometimes they just aren't ready to hear it. They will keep hounding you, and it might ultimately damage the relationship. But fortunately, you guys had some tricks up your sleeve that may be able to help them have their come to Jesus moment. Katie, I just want to ask, is there anything you would like to stick a button in?
Know your limits, which sounds completely irrelevant. A lot of people are far too nice and will listen to an MLM seller's pitch until they are just blue in the face, and you're just sick of it. Know your limits. Know when you've had enough. Know when it's time to say, okay, I don't want this, I'm done. And know when is the right time to actually have a sit-down discussion about, hey, this is not doing good things for you. This is not having a good outcome for you. We need to talk about, other options or what have you. If it comes down to, you're a different person, know your limits and know what to say. Just be careful, be kind, and rewind.
Oh my God, that is fantastic. There is a point where they may be brainwashed by their upline, where they are not seeing you as a friend anymore. They're starting to see you as a customer. That is not your fault. That is not their fault. And if you need to disengage from them for a while, again, for your own sanity, it doesn't mean that you guys can't rekindle the friendship later. But just know it's kind of like beer goggles. You have, they're not thinking clearly. They are not thinking of you as a friend, as a confidant. They are thinking of you as somebody that they can sell or get on their team. And
it doesn't mean you're a bad friend either.
Absolutely not.
I just can't say enough how important it is to do your best to be kind and be patient and not just immediately jump at anyone who tries to sell something to you, because it's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help them, and it's not going to help unless there are special circumstances like we've discussed in this episode. Your best option is always going to be to try to be as polite and patient as you possibly can. I know that can be really sound really impossible sometimes. You just got to do your best. You got to be the best person you can be.
All right, listeners, we will be back next week. We got another great episode for you, so definitely tune in. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter. Katie and I are on Twitter. We have got a Facebook page, sounds like MLM But Okay Podcast. We've got the Facebook group that Katie is the lead admin and creator of. You just have to answer 3 questions, and if you get them correct, she might let you in as long as you're not a huge asshole. We are on YouTube. Anything else I'm missing? I know I talked about MySpace last week, but we can only get on MySpace if we start a band. So maybe we should start a band.
Maybe we should start a band.
Yeah, let's start a band. Political advocacy.
Pretty much anywhere you're looking for us, you can find us by searching Sounds Like MLM But Okay or slmlmbutokay.com. We also have a website that redirects to our Libsyn account. It is slmlmbutokay.com. And I feel like that is all of the platforms that we could possibly be on. Surely we're not anywhere else, but if we are, tweet at us and let us know that we forgot something.
And, please tweet at me and Katie, because we are lonely and we just only talk to each other on Twitter.
That's what I was gonna say. We are lonely people. Please talk to us.
We need to get on Adult Friend Finder. We need to get on Ashleigh Madison.
I'm not that desperate.
And then, once we get on Ashleigh Madison, we can get all of our information doxed, and then our husbands will find out, and we'll be like, no, honey. It was for the good of the podcast, I promise.
Well, then we won't be a secret family anymore.
Oh, shit, that's right. Yeah. You're my second family. Anyway, we are everywhere you want to be, so just remember, always read the fine print. Don't get scammed, please be kind, and rewind. See you next week.
Or lease in the morning.
In a moo made of coal, while I played a tune on my sweet ukulele house.
Well, hey, what? You thought the show was over? Well, I got another thing for you. Hey, you anti-MLMers, if you're anything like me, you like to spend a Friday or Saturday night after a long day of work relaxing in front of some guilty pleasure media. If you're especially like me, you like to open up a Target wine cube, pop an Ambien, and settle into a great Pearl party. Admit it, there's nothing like a good shuck, confusing games that seem to borderline illegal regarding on our gambling laws, and admit it, you love to see what color that worthless dyed IVF-inserted Pearl is going to be. A Pearl party is a 3-hour spectacle that is the new QVC tailored for hip MLMers. But are you ready to take a 3-hour tour with me? This Saturday night, we got a special treat for you underground Pearl Party enthusiasts. The Sashas of Pearls Gone Wild are hosting the wildest Pearl Party parody you've ever seen. It's a live satire you won't want to miss. Come join us in our Freaky Tiki for all your favorite Pearl Party tropes. We got games, we got pets, we got clams. Are they vegan? Did it hurt when they died? I don't know. Ask us and find out. We got music. We got pearls worth only a few cents that we will claim are family heirlooms. Shit, maybe they will be. We even have a giveaway that you will want to get in on. Seriously, it's a dope prize. Don't come in expecting your Disneyland Enchanted Tiki Room or your run-of-the-mill Vantel party. No. We'll have all those things you secretly love about those parties, but with better parlor tricks and some sex appeal. You know the song Hot Pearl Snatch by the Cramps? It's gonna be just like that. We'll have the hot pearls and the snatches for sure. We've got gimmicks you ain't never seen before in any other party. Come for the party, stay for the laughs, ponder about the satire, and maybe even get a super cool prize if the odds are in favor. So tune in to see the Sashas, that's me, and Sasha, get down to shuck this Saturday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, that's Saturday, August 4th, 6 p.m. Like our Facebook page, Pearls Gone Wild. The URL ends in Pearls Gone Wild Parties, which is all one word, and our cover picture is some dolphins having a real good time. We will be streaming from there, but I'm sure it'll be shared to other sources. Additionally, I will link it in the show notes. Like the page, make sure you hit the follow button to get the notification when we're live, and come party with us. We'll see you Saturday!